How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with another how to find X type video. This time we're going to be looking for Shimmering Orbs. So I got my one Shimmering Orb right here, and basically, as far as I can tell, Bezo Verona is at least my recommendation for finding this stuff. So there's actually two different sources for Shimmering Orbs, so you can hunt down essentially, let's see, where'd it go? There it is. So hunt down these glow caps, which is that glowing thing right there, or you could find growth out in the wild and harvest that, and it has a small chance of getting or has a small chance of dropping Shimmering Orbs. So if you're going with the growth method, you'll definitely want as much luck as you possibly can, preferably max luck, because that's going to give you the highest chance of getting a Shimmering Orb from growth. The drawback to that method is that you're probably going to end up with a lot of growth, and like say, if I remember correctly, I was getting like several smart stacks, or maybe a smart stack and a half, and I would get about 130-ish Shimmering Orbs, but that's, I'll have to retest that. And however, if you're going for the mushrooms, it would appear that luck has no effect on that, because luck right here says it affects rare drops from blocks and creatures. So that's for blocks and creatures. If you want to up your chances of getting a Shimmering Orb or extra Shimmering Orbs, you're going to need this Gathering Epic down below. This is going to double your drop chance from plants, boulders, and fungus by 2 times, which is pretty handy. You just have to keep in mind that this is not going to double the number of drops you get, it only doubles your chance. So it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to get one of each of the things that it can drop. So for mushrooms, you're going to definitely get at least 1 lamella and definitely 1 orb, but beyond that, the chances of getting a second one might only be, say, 40%. So you double that, and that means you only have an 80% chance of getting a second orb. It's not going to guarantee you get an extra orb. So just kind of keep that in mind, and if you're a little unhappy with the results, that's probably what you're running into. So yeah, we're going to be getting surface resources, so I don't really need the energy regeneration epic for now. So for this video, I'm going to swap those two things out just so I'm getting my best possible chances. Another handy resource to take advantage of is you can head over to the character menu by hitting tab or the right side of the touchpad on the PS4 controller and go down to places and worlds, and now you can see for at least all of the worlds that you're tracking. So if you go to a world, there'll be a button here to add this to tracked worlds, and then you can hop over to resources, and assuming you're in somewhere in a place that's not changing a lot, currently there's a bug that each time the prestige updates, this menu will close, making it just about unusable on, say, like a planet like Betulia that's constantly being altered and built on, and but it seems like if you go to the Sanctum, it protects you from this, or just go to a planet that's not very active and you'll be able to keep this open. So you can come down here, and there's a section for surface resources, and Shimmering Orbs are going to be pretty low, but as you can see, we got a 0.06% density basically. So this is a total percentage of all of the surface resources, so you have to keep that in mind, that okay, naturally things like flint are going to be much more common, but still you kind of want the highest density that you can find. And as far as I can tell, Bezo Verona has the highest at, let's see here, oh, I'm looking at the wrong spot. Yeah, 0.36. Cardass actually has, it's 0.2. That's actually not a bad place to find the glow caps. And another good thing to note is that this is only for the mushrooms. This doesn't take the growth into account. So the place I usually get my growth, if I'm going to farm it that way, would actually be on, here we go, Delta Concrete. We hop over to resources and you can see shimmering orbs don't even show up here. However, if you go farming for the growth, or you just farm the growth, you will get shimmering orbs there. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm sure there's plenty of other planets that have growth. This is just the lowest level planet that I actually know where to find it. And it'll just be on the surface. They'll kind of like these little island desert things, and it'll just be covered in growth. But for right now, I think I'm gonna go farm for maybe 30 minutes to an hour and see just how many shimmering orbs I can actually get. And before we get started, naturally you're going to want to put a shimmering orb into your atlas. If you're going for the growth method, this isn't going to do anything for you, but the Portal Seeker hub is actually just right off in this direction, kind of on the other side of this mountain, and just headed straight for these two little hot spots, well, two little blue dots on the atlas, and it brought me directly to, looks like there's several around here. Did I remember to bring an axe? Okay, so yeah, I forgot to bring an axe, so I'll have to go get an axe here in a little bit. But yeah, there's a glow cap right here. So yeah, it gave me one orb, two glowing lamella, and then there was another one. Here we go. So that's the other thing you do have to keep in mind, is that if you're going to hotspots and you're not finding these mushrooms, the atlas only updates once every 24 hours. So if you're unfortunate in following directly behind where somebody else has already been farming, your results might not be that great. And as far as I can tell, these do require grass to spawn on, so basically any kind of field or forest will have the potential to spawn these. But if you're in somewhere like a desert or sandy area, kind of like there's a patch over here. Yeah, so this is just bare clay soil right here, and you're not going to find any here, but you can still find these mottled tar fungus for the reactive lamella, and the potential for sweet beans as well. So okay, so I've been gathering. Well, first off, I went home, got some axes, completely cleared out my inventory, and then I went mining, well, not mining, harvesting for shimmering orbs for pretty much exactly 1 hour, and I got 126. So selling that many orbs at about, let's say 290, I think that's what I sold my last batch of orbs for. That will be, looks like 37,700. So that's not terrible. It's almost 40,000 coin an hour. And so that is pretty darn decent. I'm really impressed with the new atlas, the new color gradient, because the atlas is leading me directly to even just a single one. I just got 2 shimmering orbs right there, but the vast majority of the time I only get 1 shimmering orb. It's like maybe 1 in 10 or something that I get 2. Of course, watch this one, yeah. So, you know, it's, of course, you know, not really based on luck as in the attribute in the game, but just your personal luck, and certainly the Gathering Epic should help with that. I did get an assortment of other resources, but I really tried to focus in on the shimmering orbs. So let's return the Sanctum and look and see what else I got. I really only collected things only when they were kind of convenient, basically just right in front of me, and I didn't really go out of my way to get things like the reactive lamella or the other orbs. So yeah, there's 130. Granted, I just got 4 more. Got a few shadow orbs. I heard somebody kind of complains like, oh, I went, you know, gathering for shimmering orbs and I ended up getting way more shadow orbs. The thing about that is your route and knowledge of the planet and your strategy, that's going to really impact how many shimmering orbs you get. Shadow orbs, they're a lot easier to gather, but they're in a completely different biome. They favor the icy areas where shimmering orbs aren't at all. So if you get distracted gathering other things, you're not going to get as many shimmering orbs. But if you need those other things, then power to you. But probably the main other thing that I got, where is it? Aha! So yeah, that's about the one thing I'd kind of pause a little bit, was to get some reactive lamella, and still only got 55 of that. Let's see here, I did get 42 vital orbs, which you get reactive lamella and vital orbs together. And yeah, I did kill quite a few roadrunners, managed to get a roadrunner trophy feather, I think at the last moment. I found a roadrunner that was, I think it was strong and had like 2 buffs, which is like armor and HP. It took like 5 or 6 shots from my diamond sling bow just to kill it, but it did drop a feather trophy, so that was pretty well worth it. If you're unaware of, if the creatures have buffs on them, they're more likely to drop the rarer items that they can drop. Did get a few beans, but again, these are kind of out of the biome. Anyway, enough rambling, let's go dig up a whole bunch of growth and see how well that method works. See you there. Okay, so I hopped over to Delta Concrete, and yeah, this is where at least I find growth. There's certainly plenty of other places you could find this stuff. This is just happens to be the one I know of, and I got the coordinates right here. It's essentially 1500 by 1500, or well, 1500 north by 1600 east. Altitude 82, but the altitude doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, there's this little island that has growth on it. There's some more over there, and these little islands should be dotted pretty much all over the planet. They're not super common, but they're not super rare either. And so this is growth right here. This stuff over here is mold. You want to basically just ignore that. It probably drops something, but just not anything we're really interested in. And certainly having an AoE shovel is going to help a lot here. So that's an example of, I have absolutely no shovel mastery on this character, and this is a AoE shovel with no extra damage on it. I do have this fancier shovel over here that it hits more blocks and does more damage. So that allows me to 2-shot. So that's actually not... Oh wow, nice. So if I get a critical strike, see, I already got a Shimmering Orb there. And so yeah, you basically just run around and get as much of this stuff as you can stand to. The one thing is, if you replace this stuff and try to break it again for Shimmering Orbs, you're not gonna get anything. So just kind of keep that in mind, that you're basically going to get a lot of worthless growth by doing this, unless you can figure out something else to do with this stuff. Maybe sell it to builders or something. But so yeah, I think I'll do this for at least a while, and just to see how fast I can get Shimmering Orbs using this method. Okay, so it's been about 25 minutes. I was hoping to at least make it to 30 minutes, but I pretty much stripped this entire island clean. There's really just kind of little stragglers. So yeah, this shovel is a little overpowered maybe for this particular location, but let's see. Okay, so I got 135 Shivering Orbs in essentially 25 minutes. The qualifier to this is that this is a more expensive way of doing it, mainly because I'm using this insanely forged shovel, so it's rank 300 on a titanium tool. So if it was gem, it would be like rank, what, 320, but it's got all that extra damage, durability, plus it hits 3 or 9 blocks at a time. I didn't really try to use it overly efficiently. I just kind of, as long as I was hitting like 2 or more blocks, I was basically happy. Certainly if it was convenient, I tried to hit up to 9 blocks, but yeah, and got, let's see here, 1800 plus 500 and 135 Shimmering Orbs. So that's kind of the other thing, is you're going to get a lot of just basically garbage, because unless you're building, there's not really any reason why you would want this block, unfortunately. It'd be kind of nice if there was something else to do with it. I know people might be shooting like laser eyes at me right now because, no, don't add it to some other recipe that's already in the game. But, you know, if there was something to do with this, maybe like a recycling machine or just a new recipe for something, you know, take 900 growth and turn it into 25 Shimmering Orbs. I don't know. It's like, you know, it'd be nice if there was something else to do with this stuff. Okay, so let's take a small recap here. So for about 1 hour farming mushrooms, I was able to get about 130 orbs, and that's not terrible. It's a really cheap way of doing it because you're not really using your tools a whole lot. You're mostly just running around the planet. It's pretty great if you need to explore the planet because you explore the zones and then pick up mushrooms along the way. Certainly I was using a pretty suboptimal spec. Stealth Gather would be a lot better. The creatures didn't bother me too much because I do have control, but I only have 3 points in agility, so if I had max agility I would have been able to travel a lot faster, and certainly maybe even like the jump epic down here, so I wouldn't have to grapple for every little 2-block high ledge. So yeah, that would make it a little bit more efficient. However, if you have the AoE tools and some really good farming locations, it seems like farming growth would be faster, but it's just going to be more expensive because you are using those AoE tools that you either have to buy or you have to forge them. And so it's kind of a trade-off. Do you want to spend a little extra money and get them a little bit faster, or just go and kind of explore a planet and you might take a little bit more time, but you are using your equipment much more efficiently, basically because you're not using them hardly at all. I mean, I guess you could wear out some grapples if you have to travel over some really rough terrain, but otherwise just a regular old iron axe is perfectly fine. It's not that often that you actually have to stop to hit one, so the swing speed and the number of hits that it takes to break each mushroom is pretty unimportant, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It has more to do with how much ground can you cover and how fast can you cover it. So if you had lots of locations for growth, that would probably be the fastest, as I said, more expensive, whereas looking for mushrooms is a little bit maybe more laid back, cheaper, and just kind of depends on your knowledge of the planet. One thing I did run into was I think I accidentally went around in circles a couple of times, and so I was going to hot spots I had already explored, basically just because I was mindlessly following the atlas. So certainly maybe having a more designated route or some method of kind of keeping track of where you've been and where you haven't been, maybe just like primarily head north or something like that. So there we go. That is how to find Shimmering Orbs. You got the more expensive yet faster way of harvesting growth for Shimmering Orbs, or it takes maybe a little bit longer to find the mushrooms, but a lot cheaper, so kind of a pick your poison type situation. Anyway, I think that is plenty of rambling. This was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.